Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Personal Collection. This is the second video I've done in person. So in December, you guys remember I went to the Alabama card show and I interviewed my good friend John about his golf collection. Well, I'm here with Mike, the baseball collector. Also, you know him from Bench Clear Media. And he's going to show his really amazing baseball card collection. Hey, thanks for jumping on.
Dude, excited to be here. Happy to do it.
Awesome. So first, how did you get into baseball cards? I know we've talked and you said you've been collecting consecutively for what, 40 plus years?
Yeah. 81 was my first year to collect and just started buying packs and sorting teams on my floor as a kid. You know, I was 8 years old then. And I just loved the game so much. That was the huge part of it, loving the game. And as I got older into my early teens, not dissimilar from you, the history of the game started infecting me with just wanting to learn all the numbers and all the things that happened in the history of the game. And so I got infatuated with older players and I couldn't afford them. So it wasn't like I was buying Manals and Ruths and stuff then. But as I turned into an adult, started having a little bit more discretionary income, I was able to add cards that honestly I never thought I would own in my life. And here we are in 2022, still going strong.
Now, was it mostly singles all the way until maybe like late in the 90s and 2000s, or did you start going to like LCSs or any card shows to start building up your collection? How did that all end up working out?
Yes and yes and yes. Lots of box buying, lots of sets, building sets, hand collating sets, shows. My first national was 1990. You weren't even close.
No, I wasn't even born then. So
1990 was my first national. It was here in Arlington, and so all of the combination of those things, and I started as a player collector. I would collect Darryl Strawberry and Juan Gonzalez and Ivan Rodriguez and then Josh Hamilton. And then it just got to the point where I'm like, chasing all these player collections feels very fruitless, honestly. And that's when I shifted over to more Hall of Fame focus and concentration. So love it.
And on the YouTube content side, you've been in it for a very long time. You started in early 2010s?
2013 was my first video. I started watching content 2010, 2011, 2012. And then I was like, hey, I think I got some cool stuff.
And Bench Clear was what, last year too, right?
Bench Clear was 2020. We started Bench Clear June of 2020 and love being a part of that with Ty and Matt and Tyson, a bunch of other guys that contribute to that. We have a great time with that.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job on both channels. So if you guys want to take a look, Mike Baseball Collector and also Bench Clear Media, make sure to give them a subscribe. That way you can get a lot more content on that side of things. So one of the things I noticed touring the room is the abundance of PCs. You didn't just have one PC. You probably had between 5 or 10 different ones. You just want to talk about a few of the different things that you're going after right now?
At least 10. And it's funny, some people really love focus. They're important. They think it's important to focus. And I do think it's important to focus as a collector. But at the same time, I have a lot of different things that I love in this hobby. And so the ability to have multiple PCs allows me to take a break on one, focus on another, and then come back to it later and just move around into different areas of the hobby, whether it's autographs or slab vintage cards or you name it. I have a lot of them, but it keeps it fresh for me and I'm never bored. I always have something to look for. Right now, my kind of PC list of things for all the different projects is about 1,000 cards. So I never run out of items to search for on eBay or at shows or whatever. So, I don't even know where to start, Ryan. How do you know where to start?
I'd say probably starting with the Beast, because I feel like that's the number one project, at least talking to you and talking to other people who have toured the room. They're always like, the Beast is number one because you've been focusing on building that run of cards, and that's your biggest list out of those 900 or 1,000 cards that you're looking for right now.
That is totally true. There is a crazy project that I started. My dad and I built a custom case for all of my slabs. I have close to 5,000 slabs, and I needed a place to put them. And so we built a custom case. We call it the Beast, and it's really neat. And the project that is most of that is I love getting 300 great cards by Mike Payne, Hall of Fame rookie cards, et cetera, all of those things. But I really am trying to do what I call the 4-decade set. So I'm trying to get every card of every Hall of Famer from 1950 to 1989. So all 4 decades, every Hall of Famer that's pictured on a card, it's 2,600-ish cards. I'm trying to get them all graded. And I only need 500 and something more. I'm like almost 80% of the way there, which is crazy. A couple of those are, do you want to see some cards?
Yeah, let's take a look.
You want to see cards? What? So I try not to get dupes, but I do happen to have a dupe of the 1960 Topps Carl Yastrzemski rookie. And the reason why is I have a PSA 3 and a PSA 6. The PSA 3 I got as a kid. It was the first vintage card I ever bought. I bought it from a neighbor down the street. And this is the actual card. I sent it in to get graded, just to get encapsulated a long time ago. I mean, it doesn't even have the hologram.
No lighthouse.
Like, no lighthouse, no hologram, no nothing. It's a long time ago. But I got that encapsulated just to protect it. And then I upgraded for my kind of forever collection to have a 6. So that's why I have 2 of those. There's so many cards, Ryan. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? But getting some big cards is important. And I bought a lot of these a long time ago. So I happen to have a Satchel Paige, 53 Topps.
His only Topps card.
His only Topps card. And that's a PSA 5. But I bought it back when a PSA 5 was a couple $100 and not a couple $1,000 like it is now. And then you occasionally can get some big boy cards like a 51 Bowman. I almost said Topps, that's terrible. 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie, PSA 5. That is Mickey Mantle's rookie, not the 52 Topps. Stuff like that. And then I do collect modern stuff too. It's not like I only collect vintage. I do have a Trout PSA 10. But this is a card that at the National, like I found one here looking around in the room, just found a Trout in a box. So I took it and had another one, graded them. They came back a 6 and a 9. I took the 6 and the 9 at the National with $50 and I was able to trade up for a 10.
Good way to do it.
And I think I have $75 total into this card.
This grading wasn't expensive back then either.
No. And even at the National, it was $50 to grade a card at the National. So this was a few years ago. So I do love newer stuff if it's really great players, and Trout's definitely a generational talent. Let's hope he can stay healthy. And then I also love autographs, Ryan. So I try to get an autograph of every Hall of Famer, which is a daunting task, and there are certainly some that are impossible that you literally can't get. And then
some of the 19th century players are impossible.
Yeah, O'Keefe and just. I could name a bunch of them.
Right.
They're very tough. A lot of the Negro Leaguers are tough too because they weren't. Honestly, the truth is, some of them couldn't even sign their name. They were
kind of like a Shoeless Joe, where you can't find those.
Yeah, and so there's probably 80 guys that you just can't get, or they're just prohibitively expensive. But there's a lot of guys you can, and I love, if I can, getting them on different things. So another PC is Topps 5-star, which I think is a great product. I mean, so many great players and great checklists every year. Here's the first year 5-star, the 2012 Hank Aaron. So that's just an example. I try to get every Hall of Famer that has a base 5-star autograph, which that's a lot. I love Dick Perez artwork. He was my childhood, Diamond Kings and all that kind of stuff. He does so many great things. Hall of Fame postcards, celebrations, all kinds of great stuff. And so I'm trying to get every Dick Perez item ever that can be signed by a Hall of Famer, Here's an example. It's a 90 Donruss King of Kings of Nolan Ryan. You like that one, don't you?
I do.
And then I'm also trying to get as many signed rookie cards and just playing era card, like when they were playing cards, signed by Hall of Famers, as much as I can. Here's a 69 Topps Nolan Ryan signed. Very cool Miracle Mets inscription on that one. The rookie cards are awesome too. There's a Johnny Bench, 68 Topps. A Rod Carew, 67 Topps. So it kind of just keeps going. And then my favorite autograph that I have in my PC is gotta be, I mean, how could it not be Babe Ruth? If you have a Babe Ruth, that's not a bad deal. So again, this is something I picked up. This is a theme, right? I've been doing this so long. I picked this up for a a lot of money. It was almost $4,000 for this autograph. But you send it in. It was already PSA authenticated. I wanted it. It had a full letter. And so I sent it in, got it slabbed, and I wanted them to grade the autograph, and it came back a Gem Mint 10. So that turned it from a $4,000 autograph to, who knows, $10,000, $12,000 now.
How many 10s is there out there, you know?
So they don't do pop reports like they do for regular graded cards. So the reality is I don't know, but I don't ever see them.
There can't be a lot.
There's not a lot. I see a lot of 8s and 9s and 7s on Ruth autographs. His autograph's not hard to find. There's plenty of them out there. He was a prolific signer. The problem is everybody wants one. And so that popularity and demand is what drives the price. Economics 101. So that's a lot of my PC stuff. Any questions?
We got to see the one-on-ones, though.
No, you want to see some one-on-ones.
Let's see some one-on-ones.
All right, I do dabble in one-on-ones just because I think they're cool. And one thing I like that a lot of collectors don't is printing plates. I think it tells a story about the hobby. I think it tells a story about the cards. To see how it was manufactured and to actually have a piece of that is, to me, kind of neat. So I pulled a couple of Adrian Beltre's, a player I like, future Hall of Famer, I'm sure. So there's a couple of Alan Ginter printing plates of his. I got a black and a magenta. So how many of these do I have? Hundreds of these?
You do, yeah, you're going through it.
Hundreds of them, printing plates and other various one-of-ones. It's kind of unique, right? There's only one of them. So I try to pick those up, and believe it or not, those don't have to be crazy expensive either. If you like a team or a player, trying to find those doesn't have to be crazy expensive.
It's a good way to get into that side of things.
Yeah.
You can still find stars under $50.
Oh, yeah.
$100 all day long.
Yeah, because the one-of-one now has lost a lot of the luster that it had back in the day, which is good for us if you don't want to spend a ton of money, because you can get printing plates pretty cheap, and they're really cool if you get one, I think. So
you have all four for, what was it, Hamilton?
I have a Hamilton where I have all four: black, cyan, magenta, yellow, and you go, wow, I could print the card. Right?
There you go.
I guess if I wanted to.
So I want to ask you as well, what are some few tips that you want to give newer collectors in the hobby? Because you have 40 years experience. What tips would you give people?
At the beginning, you should focus. Again, I've had so much time to be able to expand different ideas and things, but I think focusing on stuff is important. I think patience is so critical, and younger people tend to have less patience. They want it now. I want everything now. This hobby is a marathon. It is not a sprint, and I cannot stress that enough, that after it's taken me so long to get to this point in my career, in my collection, my hobby career, you can't do it overnight unless you have unlimited funds, and most of us don't. So be patient, walk away, be okay to walk away from a card. I promise you, barring it being a one-of-one, there's other ones out there. And again, I think we get this just desire, I want it right now, and you'll overspend, you'll tend to overpay, and you just don't need to. I promise you, you go to the National and you see a card you like, walk 5 more minutes, you'll find another one.
You will a lot at the National,
right?
Except for those like super low pop, under 50 pop or 100 pop. Sometimes you just have to pull the trigger on those ones.
But the more common stuff, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you want a Acuna rookie, or
there's so many of those out there,
you'll find tons of them, or whatever. The modern stuff, especially, no problem. Just don't be in a hurry, and enjoy your cards. You can get too much stuff, and I'm actually not there yet. I really enjoy my stuff and enjoy looking at it, enjoy showing it off and sharing it with other people. I mean, if it just that's another thing. Share your collection. Get involved with friends, because if you just leave it in a dark hole, that's no fun for anyone.
No, you did a great job showing everything like that. I mean, all the different PCs, everything across the board.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad you're here. Glad you had fun.
And thanks for having me over. Hey, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, buddy.
And then people, besides your YouTube channels, where else can they find you?
I'm on Instagram at Baseball Collector Mike, and I also do a vintage card podcast called Golden Age of Cardboard. So if you want to check that out, have fun with it.
There you go. Give them a follow on YouTube, Instagram, and check out that podcast.
See you guys. Keep collecting.